Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome to Two Peas and a Crime Pod. This is my mom, Kelly, and she does all the research and planning and all the heavy lifting for the show.
And this is my lovely daughter, Courtney, and she comes in not knowing anything, so she's kind of like you guys, and she just responds in real time with lots of witty and funny comments.
Sometimes they're just kind of douchey, but
Well, we like that too. We love the douchey comments.
Today's episode features my dark eyebrows because I had to get ready at my mom's house. And
I
was
told
like,
her she looked like she had Oompa Loompa eyebrows, and now she really feels self-conscious.
I was like, I'll just use your makeup. It can't be that much different than mine. It is very different than mine. The foundation made my skin look like dry reptile skin. And then the stuff that I used on my eyebrows made them like black at first. And this is just a tamed down version. It was heinous. That's it. My eyebrows are a crime today.
I think they look okay on the camera. In real life, I'm not used to it. It looks weird. It probably isn't as weird as I think it looks because I'm just not used to it.
It's probably just weird, but yeah, what are you going to do?
I think you look beautiful.
Thank you, Mama. You look beautiful too.
Thank you. I try.
Also, if I sound congested today, I'm sorry. I am dealing with like a little bit of a head cold or something. So try not to sniffle in the mic and talk clearly, but I'm excited. What's the case?
Well, we are on episode 14. Let me give the viewer discretion. We are dealing with kidnapping, SA,
Could keep going.
psychological and physical abuse, torture, and murder.
Wow, we went from two lighthearted Christmas specials right into like the thick of it.
This is the worst. It is evil. This case is disturbing. So, all right.
I can't wait.
Have you heard of the Ariel Castro case?
Yes.
Oh, so you do know.
Yeah.
Amanda
in
Berry?
Cleveland. Yes. Oh, yeah. That's really close to home here for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's about an hour's drive away from us. Cleveland.
So this is what we're doing this dickhole today.
This evil, demented, deranged, depraved man. And these poor girls that were with him for, I believe it was, 11 years.
Yeah. Yes.
11 years. Can you imagine?
No.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Okay. Geez, buckle up.
Okay, you ready?
So if you're not from Ohio, this was still a case that was covered nationally. You might have heard of it. But if you're from Ohio, you definitely heard of it, unless you live under a rock.
See, I didn't, when I was looking it up and it said Ariel Castro, I wasn't familiar with that name. But then when it listed his...
You knew the girls' names.
I knew Amanda Berry's name. I didn't know the other girls' names because Amanda's the one that they portrayed the most because she's the one that escaped.
Yeah.
So her name was very publicized.
I know the other girls' names, but...
Gina and Michelle.
Gina, it's a Spanish last name.
De Jesus, I believe.
Yes, that's what I thought.
And Michelle Knight.
Yes. So, all right, Mom, take us away. Tell us.
Okay. Well, between 2002, that's when it started, and 2004, 3 young women from Cleveland's West Side, Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Georgina, otherwise called Gina De Jesus, were abducted by the school bus driver named Ariel Castro. He held them captive.
He was a school bus driver?
Yes.
I don't think I knew that.
For over 20 years, I believe. School bus driver.
I don't think I know much of the history prior.
Okay.
I think that what I've heard in the news and stuff is more of like how long they were held, what was happening in court and things like that. So I am intrigued to hear, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. It's scary. Well, he held them captive for nearly 11 years inside his own house, and the residence was 2207 Seymour Avenue. They endured physical abuse, SA, psychological manipulation, starvation, chained confinement, and prolonged periods of isolation for 11 years. So let's get into it. We're going to talk first about, I'm just going to go through each victim's profile. So we'll talk about Michelle Knight first because she was the first one abducted.
Okay.
Okay. Her abduction date was August 23rd of 2002. And she was the first and longest held victim. She was born April 23rd in 1981 in Cleveland, Ohio. She grew up in extreme poverty and also a very unstable upbringing environment. Her home life was marked by domestic violence, neglect, physical abuse, and constant chaos. So she went from one bad environment to another. Her parents were separated, and her mother's boyfriends were often abusive. She frequently protected her younger siblings, and she became a caretaker from a young age, which is typical of the oldest. And one thing is, because of the neglect and her living conditions, she developed trust issues, but she had heightened resilience and a survival instinct early in life. She had developed that.
Well, yeah, she was living in fight or flight already, so
it helped her get through this terrible ordeal. Yeah, she was a very creative person. More terrible things that happened to her. She was bullied at school because she was small and quiet. So they, of course, targeted her. Her education was disrupted by her family instability, and she ran away multiple times as a teen. She struggled academically, but she was a very creative person. So she might have struggled academically, but it didn't mean she wasn't intelligent.
Yeah, how you do on a test is not the only measure of intelligence.
And she had huge street smarts, She had developed that because of her environment.
Yeah.
Well, by young adulthood, she was 20. She was homeless at times and bouncing between relatives for a place to stay for the night. And she became pregnant at that time. Her son's name was Joey, and he really was her entire world. I'm sure he was. Someone to love.
Yeah.
Someone who's not abusing her.
Yeah.
Someone just to love. And unfortunately, social services removed Joey because there was an allegation of abuse, not by Michelle, but one of her mother's boyfriends had harmed him. So she just fucked over by her entire family, by everybody,
Yeah.
Michelle was in the process of fighting to regain custody of Joey, and she was attending the court hearings, and then there were mandatory programs that she had to go through.
Right.
This fight played a huge role in her disappearance being under-investigated, as a matter of fact. So the circumstances leading to her disappearance were on the 23rd of August in 2002, she left home to attend a custody hearing for Joey. And she never arrived. So what did her family do? They assumed she had run away, and that was just based on her past instability. If they knew her better, they would have known she'd never run away from that.
Right, she'd run away from them.
Yeah.
Maybe, but not her son, not the custody case.
I just don't think her family knew her at all. I don't think they gave a shit, honestly. But because she was 21 years old, the police also did not classify her as high risk missing person. Her file was very quickly deprioritized, and her family didn't push the media or police aggressively at all.
Well, unfortunately, with there being a past history of her running away or staying away from home for a long amount of times, they probably did look at it like, oh, this is just a pattern of behavior. And like I said,
the squeaky wheel is the one that gets oiled.
Right. And if her family's not in there like demanding where's my daughter every day and saying this isn't normal and trying to get, her file moved up in the stack. No.
Yeah, they've got other cases.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to, exactly like you said,
they're going to
the squeaky wheel
prioritize.
gets the grease. They're going to prioritize who's calling
Yeah.
or something that's getting a lot of media attention.
So she was missing for 11 years with very little official effort to ever find her. And that's unfortunate. I think it...
No, I talked about that in a past episode where, like, even if it's just to say, well, we found her and yeah, she was strung out on drugs, or she was trying to get away from you. She doesn't like you. Go away. Whatever it is, like, get an answer.
Yeah, get an answer. Look for her.
But, and I said this in the past too, I understand that if someone does run away purposefully and they don't want to be found, or they're trying not to be found, what the fuck are you supposed to, what can the cops do,
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do following leads, and that's all you can go by. So
It's unfortunate. I just feel like she fell through the cracks.
yeah.
And she really made a comeback, though. She really did.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it turns out that Michelle knew Castro slightly because he was the father of her friend's girlfriend. So he used this familiarity to lure her.
Okay.
He offered her a ride, claiming he knew where the court building was. And instead, he drove her to his home on Seymour Avenue, and he invited her inside, saying he had puppies upstairs that he wanted her to see. Which is the typical thing that we're all taught. If somebody comes to you and says,
Yeah,
"You wanna
but
come
she's
see
not
puppies?"
6.
No, I know. She's in her 20s.
She's in her 20s. Puppies.
Yeah. Once inside, he grabbed her, restrained her, tied her up, and beat her immediately.
Yeah.
She was the one that was subjected to the most severe torture.
Maybe he said something like, I've got to get inside to feed my puppies. Like, do you want to come in?
That could be. You want to
Like,
see them?
I got to stop
And
home
who wouldn't
I got to
wanna see
stop home and
puppies?
check on my puppies first, and then I can take you or something.
That makes sense.
Because she wasn't a toddler. He wasn't going to be like, do you want to come see my puppies and have some candy? And she's like, I'm a grown fucking woman. I have court. No, I don't want to do that. Like, I just don't, you know what I mean?
Your scenario makes the most sense. Yes. That is probably what happened. So her captivity was the harshest of the three. Her initial confinement, Castro chained her to a pole in the basement. He gagged, hooded, and beat her repeatedly, as well as essayed. Then he starved her, and she was forced to sleep on dirty floors, and even sometimes left in the darkness for days at a time. Castro called her his first and treated her as his personal possession. Michelle, over the years, endured repeated beatings to the stomach, psychological torment. He would tell her that no one cared about her and no one was looking for her. And she had extended periods of solitary confinement, which actually may have been peace for her. I mean, with everything else that had gone on in her life, some solitary might have been welcomed.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, like, just...
Instead of being tortured.
Yeah, instead of being tortured by him, or instead of her family doing the things they did. But
It was lesser of the two evils. Lesser of all the evils.
I think you're trying to look for a silver lining where there just isn't one.
No, there
but
isn't.
I get what you're saying, though. Like, at least being left alone in the basement is not getting beat by that guy or by your family or something like that. But I don't really think that she probably felt that way. She probably felt like even being homeless, like living on the street, is still freedom in a way.
Yes.
And not being confined to a basement and left alone and wondering.
I didn't mean to suggest that it was better than having her freedom.
Yeah.
It came out sounding that way.
I know
just
it's
meant
like
better than
at least if he's not down
him
there
being
beating
with her. Yeah.
Yeah, like just leaving her alone in the basement. She was probably like, "Oh my god, thank God he's gone. Like I'll just chill in this dark basement. I hope he doesn't come back down here."
Yeah.
No, I get it.
I'm sure it was terrifying no matter what. So there were often threats to kill her, accompanied by weapons, and her movements were restricted. She was sometimes chained for months. Michelle became pregnant several times. Did you know that?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I think I watched her. Was she on? Was it Dr. Phil? Why is the dog mad? Because Christopher's alive?
Probably. I never watched Dr. Phil.
I watch Dr. Phil sometimes. She did an interview with someone. It was either, she probably didn't. I'm just talking about the one I watched because she's
Okay.
probably done an interview with all of these people, but it was either Dr. Phil or 2020 or
One of those.
one of those. And I saw one and she spoke about that. So that is something that I was aware of.
Okay.
And it's just,
Yeah, she didn't
Awful.
have a single baby. Castro forced her to miscarry by punching her in the stomach, starving her, and hitting her with heavy objects. One miscarriage came after being starved for about 2 weeks.
I don't know. For some things, there's no answers. Like you just wonder how a person can be so sick and so twisted and so lacking any kind of humanity or
Right.
empathy or I don't know. Like even sometimes, even
He
in
was a
my life,
monster.
like I love joking. You know, I love to make jokes, and I love to make a racy joke or to say something that's a little, a little over the line, and even sometimes I'll say stuff and I'll laugh and I'll know in my heart it was just a joke and I don't mean any and I'm not hateful. But even sometimes still I think like if someone heard that and they didn't know me and it hit them the wrong way, I would feel awful. You know what I mean? And like
Yes.
that's just like
I do that all the
words.
time.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like how do you actually physically hurt someone? Like I don't know, it's just weird. Also, if it looks like I'm crying right now, I'm not. There's like something stinging my eyes. I can't describe it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not-
it's just part of your sinuses.
Yeah, I think my sinuses are just goofy and like I'm not getting choked up right now. Not yet. I don't know. By the end of this episode I might end up crying. Who knows? But I'm not crying yet. Just sinusy, but no, I just don't understand like that's why the psychology behind these things and studying this fascinates me so much because I've talked in other episodes about my brain being like a math-based brain and it wants that perfect, like if we're at 4 and we see a 2 here, like what are we missing? It's a 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It just wants things to make sense. And so we have this man and the equation equals torture. What are we missing? Like, how do you get there?
Yeah.
And I just search and search and search and search, and there's something is deeply broken
Yes.
in someone's brain.
It has to be. That's the answer. And who knows how that comes about.
And isn't it amazing that a brain that can function like that, like you have that kind of brain, and then you have a brain like Michelle Knight, who, despite all of these struggles and obstacles and horrendous things that she's been through, disgusting things that she's had to live through, can continue to build back and overcome. Mm-hmm.
Her resilience and her humanity.
Right. Right. Like, isn't it amazing what a brain is capable of? Amazing being this flexible word that means wonderful and terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, because she, in all rights, could have very easily just been broken the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And dysfunctional. Or turn around and just be hateful to everybody. Like,
Or give up.
yeah.
Hang herself down there. I
Could
mean,
be. And she's not.
No, she had this will to go on, and now she wants to help people, and she's an advocate and making the best of her life and smiling, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just,
It's very inspiring.
As you keep going, I know I'm just going to keep in my head, I'm just going to be trying to solve that equation. Like, how... Go ahead, keep going.
Well, for some reason, Castro brutalized Michelle more than Amanda or Gina. He blamed her for causing problems, he said. He feared that she would fight back. And that's because she did fight back many times. Despite this, Michelle was able to develop strategies to mentally survive, such as she would sing to herself. She imagined reuniting with her son. She created her own inner worlds. And sometimes she would just count the cracks in the walls to keep time.
Yeah.
But
I have no way of knowing this. So all I can really go by is what I've seen on the media since they've been found. The tiny bits of interviews that I've heard from them or not heard from them. For instance, the one girl has completely stayed out of the media and really wants no part in it and just said, like, I'm glad I'm found. Thank you for love and support. Leave me alone, which is so valid and so fair. She doesn't owe anybody a goddamn thing.
Right.
But if you see how she responded and Amanda Berry and Gina compared to Michelle, it would seem that Michelle was the one that he had to watch more. Or, not that he needed to beat her, but like if his response was going to be, if you fight back and if you argue and if you piss me off, I'm going to hit you. She seemed to be the one that was more outspoken because even since she's been more outspoken. And
yes.
she does very much come across with like a feisty spirit. And if what I'm seeing now is how she's always been, that makes sense to me. And the other girls have been so kind of like passive and like, I'm good. Please leave me alone. I'll just go off into my own place now. Maybe that's how they were then too. And
right. Yes.
And they were, how do I say this delicately? They were easier to contain and control. Not through any fault of their own or anything like that, but just even in their regular lives, they weren't someone who was going to like yell or fight back, you know? They weren't somebody who was going to argue with the teacher or, like that kind of vibe. Like, all right. And then add in debilitating fear, exhaustion, starvation. Now they're really like, now they don't even have the fucking energy to fight back.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So what you're saying, like about Michelle being targeted more, from what I've seen, just through my perspective as an Ohioan that's watched the news and watches Cleveland's Fox 8 all the time, I can see what you're saying. Like I can like visualize her being like, "Fuck you," and him like smacking her in the mouth because she just. We're not gonna take it. Like the vibe, you know what I mean?
Yes. She didn't make it easy for him.
And that's not to say that she didn't go through periods of making it easy for him and then getting feisty, and I'm sure there were stages to that, but
I'm sure it cycled depending on,
because at some point I know he did unchain her, because after a while, you do just get to be like, okay, I hate this and I want to fucking run away and I don't want to be here. But I do know that if I chill and I follow the rules, at least I can move a little bit more freely which is something. Something is better than nothing.
Yes. And that's just using her own form of manipulation
Yes.
to make her own life a little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she played a huge role in Amanda Berry's pregnancy. When Amanda became pregnant with Jocelyn in 2006, Castro forced Michelle, who was then 24 years old, to act as a midwife, and he threatened to kill her if the baby died. He wanted that baby. So he told Michelle, I'll kill you if this baby dies. Michelle, having no idea how to do anything, successfully delivered the baby safely.
Well, luckily she had had Joey.
That's
And,
true.
you know, I don't know if Joey was natural birth or C-section or what any of that was, but hopefully it was that knowledge of, like, having to have been through her own pregnancy and been through her own postpartum in whatever way she had that gave her just enough knowledge to be like, I know a little bit, like, and
Yeah.
a woman's body is supposed to know what to do. Now, obviously, there's
That's true.
complications, and what if the baby's breech? Well, you can still birth a breech baby, but not fun for the baby or the mom. But
Right,
like,
right.
what if the cord's wrapped around the neck? And there's all these scenarios,
There's things
which
that
is
could have been.
why we use hospitals now. Or like me, my uterus wouldn't contract, and I wouldn't stop bleeding. And had they not
In olden days, you would have died from
Yeah,
that.
had they not stuck me with that Pitocin and that lady, like, put her whole fucking arm up inside me and was trying to force my uterus to contract,
Yeah.
I would have bled to death. So, yeah, hospitals are great. But thank God Amanda was in a situation where her body just did what it was supposed to, and Michelle had this little bit of knowledge. Like,
Yeah. Basically, she caught the baby.
what a miracle situation where best case scenario
Everything
happened.
lined up, yes.
And neither the baby was hurt or Amanda was became ill. Just think, even postpartum, you can become ill if the placenta doesn't completely detach. You
Exactly,
can
yes.
you can become septic. So, yeah, what a just,
It was a miracle.
yeah.
Well, she later said, that baby gave us hope. Michelle became a protector to Jocelyn and a stabilizing mother figure in the overall home.
And she was the oldest, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. She displayed remarkable resilience. She would talk back to Castro more than the others. She resisted his control. She prayed and made promises to herself and refused to let him break her spirit. And she often took punishment intended for the others. Gina has said Michelle saved her life more than once. So Michelle's sheer will to survive is one of the most extraordinary elements of this case.
Yeah.
Well, when Amanda Berry broke free and ran from the house, then police came in. They found Michelle locked in an upstairs room. When they opened the door, Michelle didn't believe at first that they were real officers. The trauma she'd been through had conditioned her to think that rescue wasn't even possible.
Right.
So upon realizing she was free, she said, "You saved us. You saved me." She weighed only 84 pounds, and she needed extensive medical care. But the aftermath, her recovery was initially the hardest. She had no stable family support to come home to.
Right.
She learned that Joey had been adopted by another family. So that was over, you know? She faced long-lasting injuries. She had nerve damage, infertility, trauma-related headaches, and she needed reconstructive surgeries.
Absolutely fucking insane.
It is. And she suffered severe post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as nightmares, disassociation, and she had lifelong trust issues, of course.
How could you not?
But she also showed the strongest upward climb towards transformation. This is the really cool part. I don't know if you remember this part, but she reinvented herself. So did you know she changed her name?
I don't remember. Maybe when you say it, I'll be like, oh, okay, I did hear that. You're talking about Michelle, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So she went
Because I know she's on the news, but I can't.
she doesn't go by Michelle Knight anymore. She threw that person away and all of the things that had happened to that
associated with it.
person. And
Right.
yes. So she changed herself to Lily Rose Lee. And that's a legal changed name. And for her, it symbolizes new beginnings, a new identity not defined by trauma, and personal rebirth.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like how Christians get born again.
Yeah.
She decided to just be born again into a new person, and that she was going to be that person, not Michelle, trauma survivor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was cool. She wrote 2 best-selling books. One of them is called Finding Me. She wrote that in 2014, and that's just a raw account of her ordeal. And then the other one was called Life After Darkness, and she wrote that 4 years later in 2018, and that's focusing more on healing and growth, which are awesome.
I did know that she had the best-selling books. I have not read them, though. I'm not much of a reader, which is why I've seen the TV interviews, but not read the books. I'm half surprised that I didn't buy them. I've done that before, like bought authors
With the intention to
yes,
read.
like Jon Stewart's book, bought it, haven't read it, but I bought it because, like, you know, I'm hoping in retirement
There you go.
I'll have time to read it, and I still wanted to support him. And it's very rare that I read a book, but maybe I will have to buy her books and add it to my
I'd like to read
collection.
them.
I'm kind of surprised you haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, why don't you buy it and then
Yeah.
you can read it to me?
Okay.
Okay.
She has become an advocate for missing children, as you were saying on Fox 8.
Yes.
And she's a speaker about abuse survival. She is a voice for neglected cases like hers.
Yeah.
And she is a huge symbol of resilience to women everywhere.
Yeah. What a great reminder in her that, like, take missing people seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do they go?
Yeah.
And it's not the fucking 80s anymore, or even prior to that. Like, it's most people have some sort of a digital footprint nowadays. Mm-hmm. Your banking's mostly all online. A cell phone, a something. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot harder to just up and
Completely vanish.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk more about, so her name is Lily Rose Lee.
That does sound familiar now. Like,
She did find love and married, and she rebuilt her life from scratch. She lives privately now, surrounded by people who genuinely care for her. Isn't that just, I'm so happy for her.
she did. I do remember in her thing, like, she didn't necessarily have blood relations, but when she was found, she found a huge support network of people that wanted to, you know, be that for her and help her and give her the stability that she didn't have, and friendships that she didn't have and had never been able to have because of the capture. And
Thank God for that.
so that's really wonderful. I hope that she did meet, you know, she doesn't need a million people. Nobody does. But even if she just met 5 really genuine people who
Yeah.
protect her and look out for her,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
It is. One person is wonderful.
Yeah.
In her case.
I just want her to have more because she deserves more.
She
So I
does.
said 5, but yeah.
She has reconnected spiritually and creatively, and her strength is often described by investigators as astonishing. And it is. Next is Amanda Berry. So she was the second, abducted on April 21st in 2003. So it was about almost a year later. She was 16, and she disappeared the day before her 17th birthday. She was working at Burger King and extremely close with her mother, whose name was Luana Miller, and her disappearance attracted substantial media attention. Amanda was kept in separate rooms and was repeatedly essayed by Castro. She was the one who ultimately escaped and made the heroic 911 call. But here's a little bit more about her life and who she was. She was born April 22nd in 1986 in Cleveland, Ohio. She grew up in a working class neighborhood on the west side and was extremely close to her mother, Luana Miller, who was, as she described, her anchor and biggest supporter. Amanda was shy and sweet, and she was known for her warm personality, and she had dreams of becoming a fashion designer, and she loved music, her friends, and she really enjoyed journaling. So she had a lot going for her. She was very responsible for her age.
I was going to say she was already working at 16 and...
Yeah, she worked part-time at Burger King to save money, and she actually helped her family financially with that money, which is great.
Sweet girl.
The day before her abduction, she was excited about her upcoming 17th birthday.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. Her relationship with her mom was deeply emotional. The bond becomes important later as multiple psychics cruelly misled her mother into believing Amanda was dead. So, I know.
Right, like she doesn't have enough.
Yeah. Psychics. Obviously, they didn't have the right.
I'm not saying that I completely know for sure whether people could have psychic abilities or not. I'm not saying absolutely or no, never. Mm-hmm. But in these situations...
In this one, she obviously wasn't a real psychic.
Right, where people prey on the vulnerability of someone just wanting an answer, someone trying to solve their own math problem.
Yes.
You know? These motherfuckers. I cannot. It's so sad.
On April 21st, 2003, at about 7:45 in the evening, Amanda finished her shift at Burger King on Lorraine Avenue. She called her sister to ask for a ride home. Later, she began walking toward the bus stop when Ariel Castro, who was a man she recognized as her friend's father, drove by. He offered her a ride, saying his daughter was at his house, and trusting him, Amanda accepted. So on entering the house, the downstairs seemed normal. Castro mentioned his daughter was in the back bedroom. So he led Amanda upstairs into the bedroom, and once inside, he locked the door, blocked her path, and attacked her. Her abduction would remain one of the most widely publicized missing person cases in Ohio. So for her, from 2003 to 2013, she was held and she endured repeated SA, psychological control, and physical confinement. Initially, she was chained to a radiator and kept in a small dark room. She was, like Michelle, starved and beaten and essayed. And even more cruelly, she was told her family had stopped looking for her. He just really wanted to take their hope of any...
Oh, yeah. That's a part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
leave them feeling hopeless, like, well, because think of how close they were. Mm-hmm. And if she thinks her mom's not looking for her or gave up and thinks she's dead, yeah, it would just leave you feeling broke down.
Yeah.
Just
hopeless. Well, Castro watched the news to see coverage of her disappearance, and he found pleasure in the public panic. Castro alternated between cruelty and fake kindness. He did this with all the girls. He gave her small gifts or extra food as rewards, and then threatened to kill her if she tried to escape.
Right.
He lied that her family no longer cared and isolated her from the other women at first. He played loud music to cover screams or noise. That was one of the things that he did a lot. He used music to cover things up.
So did he really did have a daughter? She recognized him because it was his daughter's.
She didn't live with him. But yes, he did have a daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was using control, dependency, and fear as his tools.
Right.
Amanda became pregnant about 3 years into her captivity. And unlike with Michelle Knight, whose pregnancies he terminated violently, Amanda was allowed to carry to term. And why is that? It's believed Castro saw her as special. He felt a twisted emotional attachment to her, and he wanted the child. The birth took place in a small inflatable kiddie pool where Michelle was forced to act as midwife, and baby Jocelyn was born healthy on, Christmas Day, December 25th, 2006.
Oh, wow.
What a Christmas present. Amanda, of course, immediately bonded with her daughter. Jocelyn became a source of hope and a reason to fight for survival, I'm sure. Oh. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jocelyn grew up inside the house, believing she lived in a strange, locked world. But Amanda protected her fiercely. She created a classroom in their room where she taught her to read. She sang songs and played pretend games. Amanda tried to give her as normal a childhood as possible in those circumstances.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? I say she did a good job.
I was like, it's amazing that she still, wanted to educate her and, make sure that she knew her alphabet and how to count. And
she was banking on her future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. She kept her shielded from Castro's essaying, and Castro treated Jocelyn better than he did the 3 women. While Jocelyn's innocence was often the only light in that house, according to the girls. But as Jocelyn got older, she began asking hard questions like, why are doors locked? Why can't we go outside? Why can't I see the girls upstairs? Why does Daddy lock us in? And her curiosity forced Castro to relax some of those restrictions. So this created cracks in his routine, and that's what would eventually lead to his demise and their escape.
Right.
So it's basically Jocelyn's birth that undid him.
Yeah, that started towards that.
And freed her.
Freedom, yeah.
Yeah. So the escape was on May 6th, 2013. Castro left the house, but he failed to fully lock Amanda's interior door. So Amanda approached the storm door and found it had been partially kicked out previously. And she screamed, "Help me, I'm Amanda Berry, I've been kidnapped." Neighbors heard, which the most famous being Charles Ramsey and Angel Cordero reached the house first. Together, they helped Amanda break the rest of the door down. And then Amanda ran out with Jocelyn in her arms and called 911. And she was shouting into the phone, "Help me, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been missing for 10 years.
Oh, my God.
This call triggered officers to raid the house, and they rescued Michelle Knight and Gina DeJesus. It's Amanda's bravery that directly led to the liberation of all 3 women. She was afraid to... Once you hear about some of the tricks that he would pull to trick them girls, it could have very well been a trick that would have led to a lot of hard abuse, harsh punishment.
I was going to say, I imagine that a part of it was like leaving the bedroom door unlocked and then going and acting like you left, but sitting downstairs to see if they would touch the door. And then if they did, torture them so that they think like, even when I feel sure that he's gone, what if he's not? And then I'm going to get the shit beat out of me. Like, it's not even worth it to touch the door because...
Yes. He conditioned them.
Yeah.
To believe that...
Or what if I can break my chain off the radiator by breaking the radiator, but then I don't get fully out of the house and he comes back and then beats me half to death. Like, yeah,
Yeah, he
I
just
can't
wanted
imagine.
to foil any of their
the fear. Yeah.
chances of escape.
Yeah, he absolutely conditioned them to just be like, it's
Don't even
not
try.
worth it
Yeah.
because I do. If you've never seen the interview, I think is it the Charles Ramsey? One of the guys who found her was a black man, and his interview is actually kind of so funny. Like, I think he meant for it to be kind of funny, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just being so fucking for real. But he was like, I knew something was wrong when this little white girl came running towards a black man in the streets of Cleveland for help. Like, she must have really needed help if she ran up to a strange black man. And it just, I think, like, every time I watch it, I laugh because I'm just like, I get what he's saying.
Yeah,
like,
it's humorous.
yeah, but he did help her, and you know, how would you respond? Like, I think all the time, if someone ran up to me saying like, I had been kidnapped, help me, like,
Oh, my mother instincts would just kick in instantly.
I think under the pressure, I would absolutely be like, I will help you. But when I have time to sit and think about it right now, I'm like, don't you kind of think you'd be like, what? Like, seriously? Like, just like taken aback. Like, how wild would it be to be just walking down the streets in Cleveland and then all of a sudden hear a scream from a house?
Yeah.
And
they ran up to the house and helped her get out.
yeah.
Because a lot of people just walk away and just think it was not their business.
Right, or think like, oh, somebody's kids are acting up, or like screams come from my house all the time, and it's usually like screams of laughter or like being silly, like I'm tickling, and Lindsay's like, Mom! Sorry. She's like, Mom, stop! And I'm like, the neighbors can hear you. Shut up, they're gonna call the cops thinking that I'm like beating you and we're just being goofy, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I am surprised that my neighbor has not called the cops at some point from like the loud screaming and banging that goes on in my house. But yeah, I just thank God that Amanda did continue to check doors and see if they were locked or not, and look for options when she had them. And you know, I think as a mother, I get why she braved the condition, like to go against the condition abuse that was waiting for her, to still see like, can I get out? Like, is today the day where I could get the fuck out of here? Because you would do it for your child.
Yes.
It would be worth getting my ass beat to get Jocelyn the fuck out of there.
Right. Might as well give it a shot.
Yeah. And not that the other girls didn't have reason, like that their own life wasn't enough, or that they didn't have reason, or that they were wrong for not trying if they didn't or did, or, you know, but just that sometimes I don't think that we're supposed to need an extra push in life. I think we are supposed to be enough for ourselves, enough of a reason to do more and want more.
Unfortunately, oftentimes.
But oftentimes we're not. Oftentimes I'll put up with shit for years, and if you do the same thing one time to my kid, I'll absolutely snap and be like, who the fuck do you think you are? You know what I mean? Like,
I do. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
why do we do that?
I don't know.
It's interesting.
I mean, I think it's because we've been conditioned ourselves and taught not to value ourselves. I don't think very much of myself, but I think the world of my children, and I absolutely wouldn't tolerate things happening to them that I let happen to me. You know what I mean? It is.
Or maybe it's because we had let things happen to us that we don't want our children to go through that.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you're letting something happen until you realize, I don't want to let this happen anymore. You know?
Yeah.
You were just naive, ignorant, tricked. So there's all kinds of reasons.
Yeah. Or, like, on that same line, like, maybe I knew it was wrong when it was happening, but I felt voiceless or defenseless because I was young. Like, what was I going to do even if I did say something, how was I going to protect myself or from the fallout or whatever? But, and I wish that there had been an advocate, an adult that could handle their own. And then when I see it happen, I'm like, oh, guess what? There is a fucking adult in the room now, and it's me.
Yes.
And, yeah, a little bit of all of that, I think. But I'd like to think that that's why Amanda was still like, damn, it's locked every day. Until that one day when she was like,
Yeah.
get me the fuck out of here. Like, you know.
Yeah. What must that feeling have been like for her?
Can you imagine my heart pounds so hard. Do other people have that? Like, does your heart pound really hard in high adrenaline situations? Like, I swear to God, like, this is my heart in my chest.
No, I don't feel my heart do that. But I can tell when an adrenaline situation comes in because I get a rush.
My heart beats so hard, and I just imagine if I was in that situation, I'd been like, I'm finally free, heart attack, because my heart would have exploded. Like, oh my God, I'm screaming and yelling. What if he comes home and says, oh, that's my daughter who's grounded. She's just acting up. And that feeling of like freedom's right there. And, you know, am I going to get it or not? Oh yeah, I think my heart would have fucking burst in my chest.
It's funny you should mention that. I was on my way to a counselor a few years ago, and you had called me, and I was talking to you on the way to see my counselor, and you had just told me the most horrific thing you ever could have said to me about something that happened at your Christmas get-together. And you know what I'm talking about, where there was a huge fight, and
oh yes,
you had just told me about that, and it disturbed me. And I was on my way to my counselor, and when you go, it was actually the medication doctor, so the psychologist.
You're going to your psychiatrist,
and they'd always take your blood pressure and everything.
Yes, I called you. It was January, I think.
Yeah, and it was something so disturbing to me.
She's using a weird word to describe this. When she says disturbing, she's describing people in her life that are precious to her being treated poorly.
Yeah, very poorly. And it's scary.
It triggered bad feelings for her and upset and unrest, because I don't want viewers or listeners to hear you say disturbing and think that it was bloody or
I see,
like pedophile behavior or something weird.
I don't want to out anybody. That's why I'm not saying what it was about, but just something happened. It disturbed me hearing about it. And when I got there and they took my blood pressure, it was 200 over 130.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And my blood pressure is naturally low. It's usually 90 over 60. And they said,
yours is always low. That's true. I know. That's how mine used to be.
But I didn't, like when you said you feel your heart, I didn't feel my heart. I did feel this rush, like a surge of...
Oh, no. I can feel
my
heart like thudding in my chest. And, if I were to lay back, like you would be able to see like my breasts moving. Like obviously
pounds. Mine was doing that.
Yes, yours was doing it, but you don't feel it. Yeah.
And they said, you have to go to the emergency room right now. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I just heard something that is very upsetting. And I am upset. I know I don't seem like it because I just am always at this kind of a... I
take a lot of meds and my face always looks like this.
I have this, what do they call it?
I'm really, really mad right now.
Right. I'm upset. Can you tell?
I can't cry. My meds prevent me from doing that, but I wanna.
So they took my blood pressure again afterwards, and it had only come down like to 185 over something. But I said, listen, it's just because I was just talking about it now to the doctor, and I'll be fine, you know.
Yeah.
Because they were like, well, we just have to inform you that you are at a medical emergency. You should go to the emergency room. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to, but...
Thanks for letting me know.
Well, let's talk about what Amanda's escape was immediately followed by.
Okay.
She had a hospital evaluation. A hospital
Been there,
evaluation.
done that.
She was immediately reunited with family, except her mother, who had sadly died, believing that Amanda was also dead. And there was media attention like crazy. She had an emotional collapse after years of suppressing this trauma. And there was continued concern for Jocelyn's psychological well-being. Amanda initially kept an extremely low profile, and that was to protect her daughter.
Yeah, yes.
So, life today, she has shown extraordinary resilience in her career and advocacy. It's Amanda who became Cleveland's Fox 8. It's Amanda. She became a co-host and missing persons advocate on Cleveland's Fox 8, helping locate missing children.
Okay. I feel like I thought I saw Michelle doing something like that too.
I think she has. I think she has as well, but Amanda's the one.
Okay.
That's the actual co-host.
Okay.
Okay. She works alongside families of missing persons, and she uses her platform to spread hope and awareness. Amanda co-authored the book Hope, a memoir of survival in Cleveland, and she co-authored that with Gina DeJesus.
Okay.
As far as her personal life goes, she's very focused on privacy and rebuilding stability. She provides Jocelyn with a protected, loving environment far removed from their past. And she maintains occasional communication with Michelle and Gina, but they all live separate lives by design.
Yeah.
She engages in activism, but avoids dramatic public appearances. And that's, again, to safeguard Jocelyn.
Yeah, I feel like I have seen Amanda Berry on TV. I know that I have, and I've seen her do that report. But I know that I've seen Michelle too, because Michelle's always like hair done up, nails done. You know what I mean? Like, she's always like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like she's, like put together, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
But not like, she doesn't look like necessarily like a professional businesswoman, but like, uniquely put together. Like she looks how she wants. She's not afraid to have a fun hairstyle or,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so I can like visually see Michelle on television a lot too, but I know I've seen Amanda as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Gina is the one that's like the most rarely seen.
Yes. Well, Amanda still deals with PTSD, trust issues. She has nightmares. She deals with public pressure and lingering physical effects of captivity. But despite this, she has reclaimed her life and built a peaceful and meaningful existence. So her escape didn't just free herself, it rescued both other women and her own child. And so that was a dismantling of one of the darkest crimes in modern U.S. history.
Yeah.
And it is one of the darkest crimes. It's crazy.
Yeah, 3 women living captive. Like, yeah, it's insane.
So now we're going to talk about Gina. Her name is Gina DeJesus. She was abducted April 2nd, 2004, so about a year after Amanda.
Again, Amanda was April as well, wasn't she? Yeah.
Yes.
So
basically, he just went boom, boom,
every
boom.
April, yeah.
Well, August was Michelle's.
all right, and then April again, like
Yes.
year apart.
April 2nd, that's my sister's birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, her age when kidnapped, she was 14. And she was also a
She's
close
the
friend
youngest, yeah.
of Castro's daughter, whose name was Arlene.
Didn't Castro's daughter ever go like, well, why do my friends keep fucking going missing?
Yeah.
I'm not blaming. Okay, I'm sorry. That came out totally wrong. That came out like it's her fault or what the fuck or fuck her, and she had nothing to do with this. This is not her fault, or she had no responsibility or knowledge of this, I'm sure, but I just meant like, I phrased that so wrong. I guess I meant to say, I wonder if she ever said,
Yeah.
why do my friends keep going missing? And I wonder if she ever lived in fear. Like,
Am I
people
next?
are going missing from my area, you know? Like,
Yeah.
right.
I wonder. Probably. Let's see. Georgina De Jesus was born April of 1990 in Cleveland, Ohio. And she had a big, warm Puerto Rican American family. Her childhood was marked by a tight-knit household with strong family values. Her parents' names were Felix and Nancy, and they were deeply loving and very involved in her life. She also had a close relationship with her siblings and her cousins. She thrived in a safe, community-centered neighborhood, and she had a personality described as sweet, shy, polite, and gentle. So she was 14 years old in middle school when her life changed. She was not rebellious or troubled or drifting. She was a typical 8th grader, and she loved school activities, hanging out with her friends, listening to music, and walking home with her classmates. One of her closest friends was Arlene Castro, the daughter of Ariel Castro. And the afternoon of Gina's disappearance had been ordinary.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but did he have more than one daughter? Because how was it? Amanda was 16, and she knew this girl. So maybe she was like, well,
They're close.
I had friends that were older. That's not true. I
they're
had
close
friends
in
that were a
age.
couple years older than me. Okay. I was just thinking, like, how do all these girls end up knowing? Because you said that Michelle also knew.
Michelle's guy friend was dating Arlene. Michelle had a friend who was dating Arlene.
Okay, so Michelle was 20, so maybe she knew a 17-year-old that was dating a 14-year-old?
Probably.
Or
15.
something.
Yeah, Arlene was probably around 15.
Something around there. Okay. I'm just trying to think of, like, how old the daughter must have been to have known a 6-year spread in ages of people. But, yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of. I definitely had friends that were much older than me.
My friends were all older. I've always been around an older crowd.
Yeah.
So, up to 4 years older. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was in marching band. I had senior friends when I was a freshman, and
yeah.
so it's not unheard of. Okay, all right. I just wondered if he had more than one kid. And yeah, this poor girl, her fucking friends keep going missing
Right?
because her dad's a piece of shit.
I know.
Which also,
I
this
mean,
poor girl.
I know. She has to go on living with that.
Yeah.
As, knowledge of her friends were all brutalized by her own father. It's very sad.
Yeah.
All right. April 2nd, 2004, Gina was walking home from school with Arlene. Gina invited Arlene to hang out after school, and Arlene called her mom from a payphone, but her mom said no. So the girls hugged, and then they separated. Minutes later, Ariel Castro drove up, and she got in the car. Castro told her Arlene was at his house, and he could drive her there, and then they could all hang out.
Oh, this poor girl. What a solid ruse. Like, who wouldn't be like, oh, mom said no, but dad said yes? Score! Like,
Yep. She got in the car because he was her best friend's father. She had been in his car before. He was familiar and trusted, and he was friendly, and he was seen by the community as safe.
fucking piece of shit. And then
But-
she was what? She was in captivity for what, 9 years then? Because it was a year later.
Yes.
So still being that close to home, and the last person to see her was his daughter.
Yeah.
There was that many things pointing towards that family, and still
The police didn't zero in on that.
couldn't.
Yep.
Nobody's fault. Again, I'm not blaming the cops or anybody. Just frustrating.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, he led her upstairs, closed the door, and attacked her, just like he did with Michelle and Amanda.
Yeah.
So Gina's disappearance absolutely broke her family, and it ignited a massive community effort. Her family never stopped searching. Posters covered Cleveland's West Side. Vigils were held for years, and she was featured on national news. Her parents worked tirelessly with law enforcement and Hispanic community leaders, as well as media outlets. Unlike Michelle Knight, who was dismissed early on, Gina's case stayed in the public eye.
Yeah.
Her mother, Nancy, never gave up hope either.
Is it reported if the cops ever thought this was a serial abductor? Like if they were like, that other girl went missing from this area. Maybe not Michelle, because that one was dismissed so easily, but did they ever...
I didn't get anything on that because it's not like they broke the case.
Yeah,
So,
they escaped. It doesn't seem like they ever thought that it was related to Amanda Berry's.
I mean, I'm sure that they suspected that they were similar.
But maybe not the same. Well, who goes missing? Teenage girls. Mm-hmm. So they probably didn't think that it was definitely the same person.
I'm curious to know how many other teenage girls in Cleveland were missing.
Probably
besides
a lot.
Those three.
And probably a lot of them did run away from bad situations like Michelle had in the past. Missing on purpose. Missing because why the fuck would I go home, Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would seem that they...
And then there's a trafficking problem up there. And
yeah, it would seem that they didn't ever think that it could be related.
it's hard to say.
Because maybe they would have made a better connection to the fact that they had Arlene in common.
Yeah. That's what the detective work would have pointed to.
Yeah.
Unless it just never came up.
Yeah.
In which case, maybe it
And they
didn't.
wrote off Michelle's case so much that
That's true.
that never would have...
I'm sure they didn't get very much information or
Right.
help from her parents.
Yeah, her parents probably didn't know who her fucking friends were.
Right.
So...
Well, early captivity, she was chained in a locked upstairs room and subject to SA, beatings, and starvation, just like the others. She was frequently left alone in silence, and she was often terrified, confused, and devastated. She cried herself to sleep, calling out for her mother.
She was still so... They were all young. But just still...
She was the real baby of the
Yeah.
three. Castro intentionally isolated Gina.
And the one that had the least amount of... from reports, from what it sounds like, the least amount of hardships. So, whereas like somebody starts smacking Michelle around and she's like, yeah, been there, done that, asshole. Like,
Right.
she'd been, not that it was easier for her, but it wasn't completely new to her.
Exactly.
As whereas like every aspect of what was happening to
Gina
was,
yeah.
unfortunately, Michelle had already seen how cruel the world could be.
Right.
So, yeah. And then that mixed with her age anyways. Mm-hmm. Just, I'm sure she was absolutely just inside herself.
Oh yeah, devastated.
Just dissociated and...
Yes. Well, he kept her away from Amanda and Michelle and told her that her family had stopped searching, just like he told the others. He controlled every moment of her life, like when she ate, when she slept, when she spoke, or when she moved.
What does this guy do for a living? What the fuck?
School bus driver.
Oh, yeah, you told me that. So he worked really early in the morning. Well, and then afternoon, depending on... Yeah.
Yeah. But eventually the women whispered through the walls. They passed notes to each other, and later they spent moments together. So they were building their own community with each other in this horrible environment.
Yeah.
They formed a sisterhood based on survival. Michelle comforted Gina during panic attacks, and Amanda became a stabilizing older sister figure. They leaned on each other during the violence, and they quietly celebrated small victories like birthdays or split food. And that bond really became a lifeline.
Yeah.
And it would. So Gina entered captivity at the age of 14, and she was freed at the age of 23. Gosh.
9 years, yeah.
She never attended high school.
Her entire, yeah.
She didn't go to her quinceañera.
Quinceañera.
I didn't know what that was. Do you know what it is? Quinceañera.
Isn't it? Is it your 15th birthday? I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15th birthday party is a rite of passage in the Spanish.
Okay.
I wanted to. I was like, it's either 14 or 15. It's 15. Quinceañera is your 15th birthday party, and like, you wear like a really special dress. It's a huge deal. In the Jewish community, you have your bar mitzvah. Mm-hmm. Similar.
Okay.
Like in just white girl American culture, like your Sweet 16,
Mm-hmm.
people can make a big deal out of. There's like certain numbers like that are just more meaningful for whatever reason.
Yes.
Like I feel like for simple white girls, like 16 is when you can get your license, and that's why we make a big deal out of it. There's no like cultural
Right.
meaning. The quinceañera is like a big deal.
Well, she never got to learn to drive or experience her teenage independence or develop normally, socially, or romantically because her adolescence was stolen. And later she said, I had to grow up inside that room.
Yeah. I'd be so bitter.
When Amanda Berry escaped and called 911 and the police came to the house, they found Gina locked behind upstairs door. And she hesitated at first, just like Michelle, because she was unsure if the officers were real or if this was another trick by Castro. And trauma had made her afraid of these sudden changes. So when they reassured her that she was safe, she reportedly burst into tears and begged for her mother.
Oh, I'm sure.
So she returned home and...
Yeah, talk about my favorite line, which is, I think I'm being fucked with.
Right.
Talk about being like held captive, not seeing anybody but your abuser, and then these girls that are also being abused, and you're just in the fucking thick of it together, the trenches. For how long? And then these people enter that space, and you're like, I think I'm being fucked with.
Yeah.
Like, just nothing seems safe to you, and nothing seemed attainable. After that long...
Right.
After that long, you know, he probably could have left windows open, doors open. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he had a really
the
conditioned.
psychological hold was just...
It was strong.
Yeah.
Well, she returned to a supportive family, stability, tons of love, and her bedroom was kept exactly the same as the day she disappeared. So... that was awesome. But she did face PTSD, extreme anxiety, difficult functioning in public places. Yeah. And she had night terrors, and she had social delays, huge fear of unknown men, and trouble trusting. So she had a lot to overcome.
Well, think about how much of what you just said I experience in my life, or I have PTSD, I have trouble trusting, and I've gone through like 0.5% of, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. When I think about, like, I get anxiety going to the grocery store and being around that many people in a situation, a setting that's not my own. For why? For why you feel that way, you simple bitch. Like, I get frustrated with my anxiety disorder because I'm like, just go to the grocery store. I have no reason to feel that way. I cannot imagine how these girls
stepped out of their fear to embrace life
and deal and do life with those roadblocks set up in place in their brain.
Well, her recovery was a long and ongoing process, but she did have her family and they became her strength. So thank God for that.
Yeah, and it is nice to have somebody to lean on, but ultimately you can't recover without your own work being put in, without
Yes.
doing the work for yourself.
That
It is
is
nice
true.
to have something to lean on, but they can't recover for you. You have to recover for yourself. So it's so amazing that these girls are still out there functioning and
Yeah.
and writing books and telling their story and living their truth and moving forward.
Well, as an adult, she channeled her trauma into action. So she is the co-founder of a missing persons center, and it's called the Cleveland Family Center for Missing Children and Adults. And it helps families navigating missing person cases. Police coordinates with communities, and it helps the families of abducted children receive support. So that was inspired directly by her own family's desperate search.
Yeah.
And then she co-wrote the Amanda Berry book, Hope, a memoir of survival in Cleveland. She is also an advocate and public speaker. She speaks about her human trafficking, child safety, abduction awareness, and the emotional realities of long-term captivity. In her personal life, she is still very close to her family, and she still lives in Cleveland. She values her privacy and continues therapy and emotional growth. And Gina maintains respectful distance from the other survivors, though they remain supportive of each other.
Yeah, I can imagine that being around one another would be very triggering.
Probably, I'm sure. So let's talk a little bit about the black hole, Ario Castro, and find out maybe some clues as to why he became a monster.
Yeah.
He was born in Puerto Rico in 1960, and he moved to Cleveland as a child. He had a very troubled upbringing. He had an abusive father and unstable family dynamics. So Castro showed early controlling and violent tendencies. As an adult, he worked as a Cleveland school bus driver for 21 years, from 1991 until 2012. The known schools along his routes were Riverside School. We don't actually know. It wasn't a single school that he drove bus for. They rotate and are assigned routes that transport kids to multiple schools.
Okay.
So Riverside, which was a pre-K school, he was known to drive children here, and that's where Gina and Arlene attended at one point. Wilbur Wright Middle School was Gina De Jesus' school, and Castro frequently drove past here and was familiar with the neighborhood. Arlene also attended school there. A special needs student route. Castro was assigned to routes transporting children with developmental or physical disabilities. He was reprimanded multiple times for dangerous behavior involving special needs students, such as leaving a child alone on the bus.
Piece of shit.
Yep. He was actually suspended 3 times for leaving the bus unattended, making illegal U-turns with children aboard, and using the bus to go shopping. But despite these incidents, he remained employed.
The early 2000s was wild.
I'm telling you.
Just.
They're hard up for bus drivers, apparently.
Yeah, that's true. Even now, I see signs constantly that say, in need of drivers, like,
Oh, really?
learn today.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would certainly hope that they wouldn't be so desperate as to keep people that act so negligently.
You would hope.
But it happens.
Apparently. Well, his job gave him a cover of respectability, the familiarity with the young girls and their school routes and the neighborhoods, and knowledge of when parents were home or away, and a routine that made his neighbors believe he lived a normal life.
Yeah.
So that's how he hid in plain sight. Just going to work.
So he never had his own daughter at his house, though?
I must not have.
Did he have a second house?
In that 10 years, Not that came up in my research, no. His mother, Arlene's mother, must have had custody, and for whatever reason, didn't go to her dad's house.
Okay.
You know, maybe he just picked her up and took her.
Took her to dinner, brought her back.
Yeah, that kind of thing. He was socially shy and known as quiet, but he had a history of severe domestic violence. Okay, this explains a lot.
I was going to say, well, if he had been popped for domestic violence, first of all, how was he working on a bus? But
He brutally abused his longtime partner. Her name was Grimilda Figueroa. He broke her nose.
can I see the spelling? Is that, or was it?
Figueroa. Right there.
Nilda, Figueroa. Yeah.
He broke her ribs and he broke her arms. He caused a brain injury, and he also was very controlling with her and with extreme jealousy. After she left him, Castro became more isolationistic. He was angry and also sexually deviant. So his psychological traits, he had sadistic sexual compulsions, extreme need for dominance and control, narcissistic entitlement. He was highly organized during predatory phases. He planned the abductions and modified the house to imprison the girls. He had a delusional self-justification, claiming the girls were family, insisting he was not a monster. This was...
Right.
He even told them that.
Yeah.
He called them family to their faces while he's abusing them. And just expect them to believe that part, but not the other part.
Right.
So the dual identity, the public nice guy facade versus the private sadist. He had obsessive pornographic consumption, including child pornography. Castro used similar techniques in all three kidnappings, pretending to need help or offering a ride, leveraging the familiarity, exploiting trust from his role as a father and community member, and using small talk and friendliness to mask his intentions. And then once inside his house, rapidly restraining the victims so they couldn't get away. So the rooms used as cells had heavy chains, locked doors, boarded windows, bucket toilets, bare mattresses, and gagging devices. The girls were often kept in separate rooms, allowed interaction only when, quote-unquote, rewarded, or when Castro wanted to punish someone by making her witness another one's abuse.
Right.
He used food deprivation and alternating cruelty with occasional gifts, quote-unquote, which is classic abuser behavior. Castro would patrol the house, play loud music to silence any noise. He warned them he'd kill them if they tried escaping. And he lied that neighbors wouldn't turn him in, or police wouldn't believe them. He would stage these things called family dinners, quote unquote. He bought them clothes and makeup, but also beat them for minor disobedience. He dictated, so the clothes and makeup was for his benefit, not theirs.
Yeah.
He dictated when they could shower, eat, or speak, and sometimes pretended to leave the house to entrap them in escape attempts, like you were saying.
Right.
Yeah. So Amanda's story, she talks about the fake freedom. Amanda Berry said Castro would sometimes pretend to leave the house. He would loudly stomp down the stairs, slam the front door, start his motorcycle to drive away, and the house would go silent. Amanda said sometimes she would think maybe he really left. But whenever she moved or made noise, he would suddenly burst back in and scream, "I knew it. I knew you'd try something." He did this multiple times a week for years. So it was psychological entrapment.
Yeah.
And then Amanda talks about the birthday gifts. So Castro had a disturbing tradition on Amanda's birthday. He would bring her a small cake and make her blow out the candles. Then after a few hours, he would essay her as his idea of a birthday celebration. Amanda described the emotional torment of having a sweet gesture turn into horror. She said, "He used holidays and birthdays as reasons to torture us." So then we go to Michelle's story, the forced midwife incident. Michelle caught the baby in the kiddie pool and cleaned her and even gave the newborn CPR-like stimulation. She later said delivering that baby was the most terrified that she'd ever been in any part of what went on in that house. But
That's a lot of pressure.
Oh, man. Yeah. The moment bonded the women and kept hope alive. So Michelle also talks about her miscarriages. One particular instance, she said he starved her for 2 weeks and then kicked and punched her stomach repeatedly. And she lost the pregnancy alone, chained to a post. She said, "I thought I was dying. I prayed God would take me because I couldn't take it anymore." So the miscarriages were actually used as aggravated murder charges during his sentencing. So I know we were talking about in that other case that, the McDonald family, that the baby boy
Right.
wasn't considered a viable human. So
It wasn't murder. It wasn't an additional count of murder.
Right. But apparently at this time they did consider that murder.
Did they have anything but her word to prove the miscarriages took place?
I'm not sure. The girls kept journals. So
maybe if she was journaling it.
I'm sure that.
Or if the other girls were around and
the
saw
other
her
girls
bleeding
may have
and thing
witnessed
too, maybe they could corroborate
that she had been pregnant and then had lost the baby. So, yeah. All three girls talk about the habit of staging family moments, quote unquote. He would force them to eat dinner with him, make them sit on the couch and watch TV together, hug them or kiss the top of their heads, and tell them they were part of his family. They all said these nights were some of the most terrifying because he acted unpredictably, warm one moment and then violent the next.
Yeah.
So always just keeping them, they never knew what to expect with this guy.
No, absolutely not. And you're like, you want to be like, yeah, I get to watch a little bit of TV, like a sense of normalcy, but it's not like you'd be able to focus on the TV when he's next to you or...
No, oh, yeah, no. Amanda said he wanted to pretend we were a normal family while he held us prisoner. And then Gina says the candy bribe. She said if she cried too long or too hard, Castro would come upstairs. First he'd be angry, but then he would pretend to comfort her and give her a candy bar or a stuffed animal or a little toy. Then he'd assault her hours later. Gina said, "I quickly learned that anything nice meant violence was coming."
Yeah. You can't have a dopamine rush without a adrenaline crash or PTSD. You know what I mean? Like it would change the whole chemistry of your brain.
Yes, exactly. So the TV is on be quiet rule. They all said that Castro constantly played extremely loud music or television to drown out their screams or mask movements by him or them or disorient the victims. When he put on certain songs, the girls knew he was in a violent mood. Michelle said, "When the bass shook the walls, we expected abuse." Amanda said, so it's kind of like Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. They became conditioned to know his moves and his moods.
Based on what music was playing.
Yeah.
Amanda said the music became a weather forecast for survival. And then Michelle said Castro pretended to cry one night after a violent assault. He sat in front of her and fake cried, ranting about how his ex-wife ruined his life. Women were ungrateful. Nobody loved him.
Yeah, he's the victim. Mm-hmm.
Michelle said he used me as a therapist after torturing me. He would switch back into rage just minutes later then.
Yeah, she had to carry the emotional weight for both of them. I'm going to hurt you, and then I'm going to expect you to listen and be completely ready to say, like, oh, poor you, and, like, hug me and console me.
Yep. Sick.
Yeah.
Evil. As Jocelyn grew older, she began wandering around the house. And as she noticed a locked door and said, Mom, why does Daddy keep that girl locked in there? Referring to Gina. That scared Castro, who realized the house wasn't sustainable anymore with a growing child. Amanda said that this was the first time she realized Castro was losing control, and it was a shift that eventually opened the door for her escape. Then there was the punishment room. Michelle says that when she resisted him or fought back, Castro locked her in a small pitch-black room for days at a time with no food or water or toilet. Michelle said, I talked to myself so I wouldn't lose my mind.
Yeah. What else can you do?
Gina had a silent rebellion. She said that her quiet resistance was one of the only ways she felt human. She stopped responding when he tried to talk to her. She avoided eye contact. She sometimes even refused food, and she pretended not to understand his demands. She said, it was small, but it was mine. And that subtle defiance kept her spirit intact.
Yeah.
So they had a secret communication system. When Castro would leave the house, the girls whispered through vents, tapped on walls, slipped notes under doors, passed drawings, and hid small gifts for each other. Aww. Those moments kept them alive emotionally. Michelle said, we made our own family because he couldn't break us apart. And then Amanda's escape moment. When Castro forgetfully failed to lock the storm door, Amanda didn't know if it was another trick. She pushed on it anyway, and it cracked open, and she said, I thought he would kill me right there, but I chose to die trying.
Yeah.
The split-second decision is what freed all of them. And total bravery.
Yeah, and talk about bravery, knowing that this could mean getting beaten to death.
Mm-hmm.
And still being like, well, I'm going to beat me to death then. Fine.
Yep, I'm going for it. So the house search reveals restraints, DNA, and shocking physical evidence. I wonder what that was. Evidence found in the house was DNA confirming Castro fathered Jocelyn, chains, padlocks, ropes, and homemade restraints, pornographic material and videos of the assaults, diaries kept by the victims documenting the abuse, the threats, and the psychological torment, and then room partitions and barricades with soundproofing attempts, and logs showing when Castro would check on them that the girls were keeping. So he faced 937 criminal counts, including kidnapping, aggravated murder, assault, child endangering, and SA. He pled guilty to avoid the death penalty. So his sentence was life in prison plus 1,000 years. No possibility of parole. And the judge called him a coward and a sociopath. Castro's statements said he was not a monster. He said that the sex with the victims was consensual, which was a delusional, self-serving lie. He blamed pornography and his sexual addiction for his behavior, and he showed minimal genuine remorse. So on September 3rd, 2013, which was only 1 month into his sentence,
Yes.
he was found hanged in his prison cell.
Mm-hmm.
As for the house, 2207 Seymour Avenue was demolished in 2013. And the 4 survivors, Gina, Amanda, Michelle, and Jocelyn, watched the demolition as a form of symbolic closure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's all I have on that one. It was rough.
Yeah, just a wild case, so close to home. And just so cruel and bizarre and twisted and And you just wonder how. There's so many like hows. How did he get away with it for so long? How did it? I don't know. That's wild though.
Yep, I know. It really is.
All right, Mama.
Well, thanks if you've stayed this long. Maybe leave 4 different colored hearts for the 4 ladies that survived this and came out on the other side as wonderful human beings, resilient and inspirations for families of missing people all over the world.
yes, absolutely. Survivors in every sense of the word.
Yes.
And deserving of so much good karma coming back their way. So, thanks for
your
watching.
time. Yes.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your moms.
We've got another case coming on Thursday, so stay tuned and press that subscribe so that you can get a notification whenever we drop a new case.
Absolutely, guys. All right. Thanks for being here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.